Hi, I'm indie fantasy author Melinda Kucsera, and we're back with Fantasy Lore and More. And today we have Willow Seitz with us. Did I say that right? With
It's
us?
Seitz, but it's
Seitz.
okay.
Okay, so we've got Willow Seitz with us, and we're going to talk about her debut novel, The Beauty of Dawn. All right, welcome. So tell us about The Beauty of Dawn.
Hi. So I wrote a young adult epic fantasy novel, and I can read you the blurb if that
Sure.
works. So, a stay up all night tale of love, loss, and friendship, The Beauty of Dawn is a debut classic epic fantasy adventure full of magic, nonstop action, and an unforgettable journey toward redemption. Nathaniel Cade, a mistrustful thief, has never seen the sun. Centuries ago, it is said that the prophets cursed Ealidor with an eternal midnight. While the realm dreams of the sunlight's return, Nathaniel uses his unique connection to the darkness to survive. But when he saves a Knight of the Faith of On from a spectral ambush, an unlikely mentorship blooms. He is thrust into a grueling and foreign landscape where prophets are massacred for their dark magic and murderous race bleed through the veil into the land of the living. To save all he has come to love, Nathaniel must join the ranks of those who still believe they can bring back the sunlight. A thief burdened by prophecy, a dishonored knight, a sheltered squire with a secret past, a runaway prince afraid of the dark. They hold the fate of Ealidor in their hands, and as the darkness threatens to consume them all, they're the realm's only hope of returning the dawn.
So it sounds like Nathaniel's our guy. He's our main protagonist.
Nathaniel is our guy. I wrote this book when I was like 15, and it's been a long time coming. I'm 21 now, so it's been a few years, but I got it edited by some pretty cool people. Uh, a previous senior editor of Tor
Oh, wow.
and a previous acquiring editor of Orbit, so pretty excited for it.
No, that's cool. And it only took you 7 years when you wrote it. The book that I wrote when I was 15 is still nobody has ever seen it. It's still sitting on my hard drive.
Well, I thought about doing that to it too, but
Oh no, I'm gonna get to it eventually and
yeah.
like revise it, like chop it up into like 4 books because it's like massive.
Oh, 4 books, that's a lot.
No, it's really it's I started rereading it a few like maybe 5 years ago and I was like, wait, this is not one book. This is like I took the kitchen sink and filled it with all my favorite fantasy things. Like this can't
Yeah.
remain as one book. There's just entirely too much going on.
It's interesting when you go back on it with, like,
Mm.
an older brain and you realize, "Wow, this is not how I thought it would be," and then you have to turn it
Yeah.
into something else.
No, but it's also cool, like, when you're like, "Oh, it's probably trash," and you're reading, you're like, "Wait, this has actually got some good stuff in here." Like,
Yeah.
yeah, some of it is trash, but, like, some of it is actually, like, pretty good. So I was like, there's some good seeds in here. We could grow this in the free time that I don't have, you
That's
know?
good. That's good.
But that's awesome that it only took you 7 years and you did actually take, like, the book that you wrote when you're a teenager. Like, I think that's so cool. Like,
Thank you, yeah.
I think that's so cool. The rest of us are like, throw it in the drawer, forget about it, or get back to
Yeah.
it someday."
I
But
tried to traditionally publish it, but I had it not edited when I tried to do that, so, of course, that went terribly. And then I hired my editors because I went the self-publishing route, and then it turned into a much better book, so I'm actually pretty proud of it now.
and you have much more control over it since you indie published it.
Yeah, my mom, actually, she did the cover. My mom's a tattoo artist, and she, designed the cover and stuff, and I did all the text and interior.
So for those who are listening, the cover has it's sort of red, and then were
There's ravens on the
those are
cover.
ravens. I was
It's
like, I'm
like yeah.
in my brain, I'm like crows. I'm like, no, those are not crows. It's the other word. The other word.
Yeah, in
Yeah,
my
no, it's a
book,
cool cover.
ravens are like the messengers between the land of the living and the underworld, so they carry stories across.
Oh, that's cool. That's a pretty common thing, though. I think with crows and ravens.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's like a folklore thing, I think, and
doesn't it go back to like the Morrigan, like in Irish or what is
I
that?
think it is
Gaelic
Irish, but
folklore?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it's something around there.
Yeah, no, that's very cool. All right, so let's get back to Nathaniel. So he's the dishonored. There's Nathaniel, then there's the dishonored knight, the runaway prince, and the sheltered squire.
Yeah.
So what is Daniel? He's just our guy. He's just a regular
Nathaniel
guy on the streets in this in this novel,
he
or
is
does he
he
have
is on the
something
street.
special?
He's, Nathaniel is a thief. So, the
Ah,
main 2 really important people in my book are Nathaniel and Audric, so the thief and the dishonored knight, and their whole dynamic is that Audric lost his son previously, and for the past 10 years, he's been living, like, as a drunk, traveling between tavern to tavern, and his whole job is to protect the people from the darkness, which
mm,
is the thing encompassing the realm, but he's
right.
kind of like I don't know, like, he's kind of been shooed away after his son died because he got really angry and he stopped teaching and got really depressed, and they were like, "Well, go fight off the darkness for a while." And it's been 10 years and he still hasn't healed. But then he comes across Nathaniel, who is a thief living in one of these towns that Audric is taking care of. And
Gotcha.
that's kind of how they start off.
Gotcha. So they just randomly meet or like did the thieves try to steal from the dishonored knight?
He tries to steal from him, and, it doesn't go very well, and then he offers to buy him some food, and then
Mhm.
he swindles him again, and he's like, "I've been poisoned," and tries to take more money from him, but what ends up happening actually, like, kind of the inciting incident in my book is, the darkness attacks that town that they're in, and it's
Oh.
revealed that Nathaniel, this thief character we've been introduced to, can know when the darkness is about to attack. He has this connection to it and can feel before it's going to arrive.
What is this darkness? Like, is it, like, literal darkness, or is it, like, magic, or, like, or
It's a little bit of
creatures?
both. There's,
Okay.
like there's no sunlight, obviously. There's no sunlight at all, and the sky is just like a kind of like a really dark storm. It's not totally pitch black, although at night it turns pitch black. Um, in general, it's just, like, a really dark, stormy sky, and the lore behind it is there basically was a massive genocide of the prophets of this realm, and all those people kind of manifested into what is the darkness. So there's like these wraith creatures, and those are the prophets that have died. I'm
Mhm.
kind of giving a little bit of spoilers away, but you said that was okay.
Yeah, that's my job. I'm trying to get the spoilers out of you.
Yeah. Yeah, so the darkness is a all-encompassing kind of hive mind of people who have passed away in this terrible genocide. And Nathaniel is mysteriously connected to it.
Oh, wow. So we'll find out in the book, because 'cause you're not gonna give away how he's connected to
Oh, I can
it.
if you want me to.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I would try to get, like, all the spoilers out of everyone.
Okay, yeah, sure. So yeah, so the whole reason why Nathan is connected to this darkness is because he is, of course, the chosen one. He is the person that has been created. My dog's trying to get in.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, she's a psycho. Stay away. um, Forgot what I was saying. Oh, Nathaniel. So Nathaniel
Yes.
is what a thing called the Twilight Lord, and
But he
hi.
doesn't know this, I'm guessing?
He does not know this until a very long time in the book, probably around like three-fourths of the way through it. Um, and the Twilight Lord is kind of this almost mythological being that was said to be the person who would recede the darkness. So all the prophets before they were killed, the way that they were killed was they were locked in this cavern and basically they all starved to death. But before they all died, they created this kind of person in their minds who would come and rescue them. And the goddess of time, the goddess in my book, she's kind of like a she makes things. She's like kind of that
Right.
kind of god. She is inspired by this story that the prophets created, so she makes Nathaniel, the Twilight Lord, somebody who has a power so great it can move entire mountains, basically the mountain they were
Wow.
trapped in. And the kind of secret power of that actually isn't that Nathaniel can move entire mountains, it's that his power is so great it could move entire mountains, but his power is that he can control the darkness.
That's so okay, so why did they lock them all in there? All these prophets. Oh, this is another spoiler.
Sorry, there's like such a big kind of ball of stuff in my head when I think about like all the lore behind my book. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry if it's like coming out as kind of confusing jargon.
No, no,
But
it's not. It's just you brought up this sort of interesting point that, like, somebody locked them in there. I'm like, "Okay, who did it and why?"
yeah, so the main antagonist in my book is King Edward Falcon, and he has been ruling over Ealidor for the past 500 years. Basically, he is the reason why the darkness is there in the first place because he was the one that killed all of the prophets and trapped them in that cavern.
Oh. And why did he do this? Like, what was he hoping to get from that? 'Cause I'm assuming we don't just do that for no reason.
Yeah, so what happened was there's another little little backstory here where the king had a vision given to him from a prophet, his brother actually. And the vision was that he would die to a plague. And sorry, I'm just gonna kick my dog out if that's okay.
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean, don't literally kick him because that'd be
I
mean.
never.
But
Maybe not on camera. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, I mean, we're kind to we love animals.
Go away. Sorry.
That's okay. I mean, we love animals, so we're
Yeah, she's adorable and annoying.
oh, poor
um
dear.
So anyway, the king got this prophecy that he was going to die from a plague, and basically, what happened was instead of the plague happening, the darkness happened because he oh, sorry, this is kind of like a ball in my head. There is a reason why. I just kind of forgot it because I'm on the spot.
That's my job. Put you on the spot. Make you
Yeah.
work.
I don't want to go like look for it, but I might remember if we go go back to it if we talk a little bit more and then come back to it. I'll probably remember.
Yeah, sure. All right. So tell us more about this Edward Falconer dude. Like, who is
Yeah.
he? What's he trying to what does he want?
Yeah. So, Peter Falcon, the runaway prince, is the king's son in this book. So he's like one of those four main characters. The son is, and the king basically what he wants is he wants to continue his reign. He wants to always be in control of this monarchy. He wants to his whole family, his lineage. It's really important to him that their family, the Falcons, always stay in power.
Right.
And his son Peter runs away, and that's like a really big problem because he's like super old and he can't really have children or anything like that. So Peter is kind of his last resort, and there's like a lot of back and forth there between Peter becoming like part of this monarchy or Peter bringing a democracy to the book, the realm of the book, instead of having this forever reign. And Edward Falcon, his whole thing is that he wants it to stay. And there's a moral theme in my book about letting go of things and letting go of things that hurt. And for Nathaniel, the thing that he has to let go of is the darkness because he's relied on it for so long and it's just become a part of him. But in order for the
Oh, so
sunlight to
he
return and
knows
stuff,
about it. So he knows that he's chosen. So Nathaniel's not wandering around in confusion. He knows about the darkness and his connection, and that he's
he does.
chosen.
He knows that he has a connection to the darkness at first. He doesn't know what the darkness is. Both Nathan and the reader kind of discover this lore as the story progresses. It's just kind of they're kind of like revelations as certain things happen in the book. But Nathan is kind of on a journey along with the reader as you discover those kinds of things.
Oh, okay. So he doesn't. So when the first opens, he knows he has some connection, but he doesn't know
Yeah.
quite what it is, what the darkness is, or why he has this connection. Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. So going back to Edward Falcon, he's old, so he's not running around doing things in this book. But I guess
Yes.
he has
I
soldiers or
remembered.
minions or something to do his
Yes.
bidding.
Yes, I remembered the thing that happens with him.
Ah, okay, cool. Do tell, do
So
tell.
so he received a vision where he was going to die basically and leave the throne without an heir. And this was obviously could not happen because he had been raised to believe that this monarchy had to be ever ruling. So what he does is he makes a deal with the kings of the underworld where he would become immortal, but the price was his people. So the deal that he makes is that every soul that is sent to the underworld is split in half, and half of that soul feeds his life form, and the other half is becomes the shadow of twilight, becomes the darkness. So he's kind of created his own demise by doing that because every half of those people that he's murdered, they become half of themselves. They become these shadow shade creatures that will turn into the monsters that live in the darkness, the things that Nathan is connected to.
Oh wow. And so they're obviously pretty pissed at him.
Yeah, so Nathan is supposed to be the assassin for the darkness. The castle that Edward Falcon lives in is spelled to keep away the dead, so they can't come in and just kill him.
Hmm.
They needed to have someone else come in and do it. And the Shadows of Twilight want revenge for what's happened to them, the mass genocide that's occurred. So they use Nathaniel and they possess Nathaniel, and that's how they can enter the castle and eventually get their revenge.
Gotcha. So that's what's going on in The Beauty of Dawn, or is that playing out across that book and any sequels?
There are no sequels, it's a standalone.
Ah, it's a
So this is
standalone.
all in one
Gotcha.
book. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So we've got Nathaniel and we've got Edward. So the dishonored knight, how did he become dishonored?
Yeah. So Audric is the dishonored knight, and Audric lost his son about 10 years prior to Nathaniel even existing, even being born. He lost his son to a test called the Test of Will, where basically every student in this organization that Audric's part of, the Faith of On, they go and they find their weapon of choice. They find their sword because weapons are very scarce in this world, this realm, because the king is using them all for himself, and there's like weapon sanctions and stuff like that. So to find a really quality weapon is a very difficult task. So they've made it part of their um, part of part of their test to become a knight is to actually go and find your sword or your whatever weapon it is. So that's what Odric's son did, and he went off to find this weapon, and he never came back. So he died, basically. He did die. Sorry, he died, and then Odric has to. He basically becomes like really depressed and very angry, and he turns to alcohol and stuff, and he just becomes a menace around the Faith of On, around the area that he's in. And he used to be a very like upstanding, honorable knight, but after his son passed away, he kind of fell into a bout of depression and just became a nuisance to everyone there. So they send him away, and they say, "Go spend however long you need, like out in the field defending Ealidor from the darkness." So he goes and he does that, but instead of like being this super powerful knight that's like protecting the people, he just kind of passes out in taverns and is living a very unfulfilling life out there in the field. And that's when he comes across Nathaniel, who looks remarkably similar to his son who passed away. And
Is
that's
that
why they have a connection.
Is that on purpose?
It is on purpose, yes. And I guess I'm gonna give away a spoiler here.
Oh,
That's what
okay.
you want
Give
me
it away.
to
Get
do.
away.
Yeah. So the reason that Emmett looks so much like Nathaniel is because Emmett is Nathaniel, but not.
Oh, that's interesting. So when the I forgot now what was it, the goddess or the god created Nathaniel,
Yes.
they deliberately chose Audric's, like the form of someone who looks like Audric's son. I
Not
guess.
quite, but the
Oh,
goddess of time created this being that was supposed to bring revenge and restore the sunlight to the realm. But she did not care like if the creature had any personality, was even remotely human. She didn't care what kind of person would be created. She was only creating a weapon for the darkness. But Emmett, who is Audric's son, when he goes away and takes the test of will, he actually comes across this volcano called the Eye of Vithis, which is where the goddess of time creates all of her creations. She makes all her creations there. And before Emmett left, he was given an amulet by his father, by Audric, and it was their family seal, so the thing that defines them as a family of knights. And he brought that with him, and it fell into the volcano. The idea is that it fell into the volcano while Nathan was being created, and then
oh.
Emmett passed away. He climbed to the top of the volcano and he fell off. So the whole reason that Nathan is remarkably similar in like physical looks and in some but not all characteristics is because part of Emmett's soul was like engraved in that amulet. So when he died, it became a part of Nathaniel. And
Oh.
there's a very clear distinction though that like Emmett is not Nathaniel. Like Nathaniel grew up in a very different environment than Emmett grew up in. Nathaniel never had a family. Nathaniel never had a home. He grew up on the streets. So he's a very different personality, a whole different person really. It's just there is that connection to Audric's son who passed away.
No, that's pretty cool. And it's more than a like coincidence or a passing resemblance. Like, but they're
Yeah.
definitely different people. That's really cool. So, all right. So we've got Nathaniel, who's our weapon to defeat the darkness and bring back the light. How are these people surviving if there's no light? Like, how do you grow crops? Like, how do you live in a world of night and
Yeah.
still be alive?
So it's not exactly like a totally like it's not total darkness in the world. It's just like a dark storm in the sky, kind of if it was like a stormy night or something. Um,
So some
basically,
sunlight gets through, so plants can
no.
grow.
Well, it's just like I didn't go too much into like the very specific world building details. Like this is the science behind it. It's
Yeah.
basically in my head. I imagined that it's like how outside it looks like how it would look if it was a very dark storm outside, and then at night it gets very low visibility, like super low visibility. Like imagine there's no anything in the sky and it's just super dark. Basically crops and stuff have just mutated into like monstrous kind of things. Like they're very hard and tough and uh, sorry, I'm a little bit sick, and brittle and stuff like that. And there's a certain kind of lantern that the Faith of On has put up where I believe it's like crushed magnesium, crushed magnesium or something, and then it like sparks. It was based off the match that we have like in real life, the match that almost never goes out even if you dunk it underwater. It's based off that, and those are what all the roads and stuff are decorated with.
No, that's pretty cool. That's cool. So the crops have mutated. So they're not
Yeah.
not exactly, so they're not starving, but they're not thriving in this.
Yes, basically, yeah. And it's been 500 years of it, so it's been a long
Wait.
time for the planet to.
Oh, so Edward's been alive for 500 years.
Yes, Edward is
So
immortal.
yeah, but so immortal can mean like multiple things. Does it just mean that he just keeps existing, or like it doesn't mean that he like got, rejuvenated and is young again? He's still an old
Yeah.
guy, just doesn't die.
Yeah, he's physically he looks very old, and the he just doesn't die because he's being fed a life force from all the people that he's murdered. But he's run out of profits. Basically, he's killed almost all of them, so he's running out of time, and he's becoming more and more like crippled and old and gross looking
So
because there's just no more people left.
so he can only sacrifice the prophets.
Yes, yeah, because the life force of a prophet is much more stronger than an average person because
Gotcha.
they are also immortal.
Oh, okay. So hopefully they got a better deal than he did on it.
Yeah, so to become a prophet in this world, you have to trade your most important thing to a dragon, and in return, you get visions from the goddess, and you get to live forever. It kind of traps your life force and locks it in time, and you stay as you were when you
Ah,
traded this
so you
as a
don't get
prophet.
more and
Yeah,
more decrepit
no,
like he is.
unless you are an evil prophet. If you were so.
So if the dragon doesn't like you, they might still make the trade, but you might not
Yeah.
come out on the winning end.
Yeah. Well, the whole moral theme of the book is to let go of the things that have hurt you in the past. And when you become a prophet, you're essentially giving the dragon, the great dragon, the thing that is most important to you, and you're becoming free. You're freeing yourself of this thing. You're not being locked down to the world anymore by this thing or this person or whatever it is that you can give them. You could give them your family. Some people not always know what their most important thing is, what the thing that ties them to the world is. And sometimes it's somebody like their child or somebody really close to them, and they give it to the dragon unknowingly. But essentially, when you become a prophet, you will stay young and you'll stay healthy as long as you don't ruminate on the thing that you've lost. If you start ruminating on the thing that you've lost and you start being affected by it and you're kind of corrupted by your feelings and desires, then you turn into older and older and losing your humanity, which is one of the antagonists in the book. His name is Father Alistair, and he is another one of those prophets that has kind of turned corrupted.
Because he has attachments. So what happens if your attachment is like a person? What does giving into the dragon mean? That you have to actually like bring this person to the dragon and the dragon what eats him? Or like, well, how does that work? Or they now work for the dragon? Or like how does that work?
There's not really a thing that happens in the book where someone has given up. It's just kind of mentioned that this is something that could happen, but there's no person in the book that has lost their family or something to the dragon. But theoretically, what happens is you come to the dragon and you say, like, I want the sight, I want to become a prophet, and then the dragon's like, okay, give me this, and I'll give you that. So then you would say, yes, I will give you my family, and then they would go home to their family, and their family would be gone.
Oh, okay.
And essentially, the dragon has swallowed them. I guess they've like become part of his body. Anything that is given to the dragon becomes a part of the dragon. And there is a moment in the book, there is a moral choice in the book where Nathaniel meets this dragon that has been talked about so much, and the dragon offers him to free him from this weight that he has, and the weight that he has is his connection to the darkness because he has relied on it for so long. And I've kind of described it as, imagine that you have a boulder on your back and it's been holding you down your whole life, and then someone comes along and they unshackle the boulder. If you were to just let the boulder go, what would happen to your body? Would you be left like crippled still even if the boulder was off? What would happen to your spine? Like stuff like that. And the idea of dropping that boulder and letting the darkness go is such a horrifying idea to someone like Nathaniel because he doesn't know what would be left of him without the darkness. He's come to rely on it so much that it's a part of him. And when he approaches the dragon and the dragon says, if you give me the darkness, your most important thing, I will free you and Ealidor from this terrible thing, like from the darkness. I'll just free you from it and I'll take it into myself. Nathaniel is unable to give it to him because he's thinking about what he would be without it. Why do you want in here so badly?
Did the dog just open the door?
Yes. She's very small. She's a Shiba, so she's tiny.
But that's cool that she was able to open the door.
She just pushes it right open.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's no doorknob turning.
No.
That's cool. That's fun though when dogs are like know what they want to go for it.
She's very bullheaded. She's very stubborn. This is her.
Aw, so if you're
Hi.
just watching, the dog is small and brown and really cute. I'm not good at describing animals.
Cute but psycho.
Yeah, so if you want to check it out on YouTube, you'll see the dog. So, all right, so we've got Nathaniel, we've got the prophets, we've got Edward, we've got the dishonored knight. So and the runaway prince is Edward's son, and who is the sheltered squire?
That is Cassidy Aldane. She is a student at the Faith of On. She's a squire at the Faith of On, and she is Nathaniel's first friend that he ever makes. And she kind of serves as the story's like, information person, like Hermione from Harry Potter. But she's also kind of more than that because she offers this kind of familial emotional support for Nathan and for the rest of the group. And she's not just that either, but like, she kind of offers friendship, which is something that Nathan has never had the opportunity to have. And Peter, actually, now that I think about it, because he's been locked away in a tower for several years. So she kind of brings them all together.
No, that's cool. So, I mean, everybody needs somebody in their friend group to unite everyone.
Yeah.
Sounds like Cassidy is the unifying factor there.
She kind of puts them in their place a lot of the time.
It sounds like they might need it, though.
Yeah, they do.
Or they might need some outside perspective of somebody who's, I wouldn't say normal, but who doesn't have all that emotional baggage and stuff.
Yes.
Who's like can look at things from a more rational, logical point of
that is
view.
exactly what her kind of purpose is in the book. And something that actually happens is Nathan summons the darkness to the sanctuary, the place that they're all at, because the Kingsmen are attacking. And one of the Shadows of Twilight kills Cassidy's mother. And instead of immediately like blaming Nathaniel and not becoming friends with Nathaniel anymore, and because he was the one that summoned the darkness, she kind of sees it in a different light and is able to work through her emotions in a healthy way, something that the rest of them can't do. So she's someone to look up to, I guess, for them.
Oh, it sounds like they need it.
They
need some good hard life lessons.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Ealidor is the name of the realm where we're in.
Ealidor,
so Ealidor. So we've got the darkness, we have the prophets, we have the dragon that can make you a prophet. Is there any other things about the magic system there that we haven't talked about?
I think something interesting about my book is there isn't a very hardcore magic system. I would say that it's very soft and based a lot in mythology or like religious history, I guess. There is
anyone in particular, or just in general, like using the most common elements?
Well, there's the goddess of time, and she's like the creator of the whole world and stuff. But there is also something called a world dial. So basically, and I have a drawn thing. I guess I can show it, but it'd be hard for people to like hear about it. I'll try my best to explain. But basically, there is the living world called On's domain, and the goddess of time is the goddess of time. Her name is On, and that's why it's called On's domain. And in that world, there are two portals to two other worlds, and one of them is a portal to the Abzu, which is the underworld, and another one is a portal to the first world, which is the first kind of dimension that the goddess of time made to test her creations in. And throughout the book, there are lots of kind of references to these different worlds and creatures coming from these different worlds. So there's the Lady Calon, which is a creature that can show you forgotten memories, that can install like fake memories in you. And she is from the first world, so she's a creature that the goddess of time made like when she was experimenting, and she can kind of reach into these portals that she has in her workshop and grab them out and then put them in her domain to like mess with Nathan and stuff or do whatever she wants them to do. In the book's case, the reason why she takes that creature out of the first world is so that that creature can show Nathan how he killed his parents with the darkness.
Oh, okay.
So she can like bring back lost memories from when you were like really little and stuff, or things that you've kind of repressed.
That's not a fun power.
No. But yeah, so the magic system I think is based more on like mythology and kind of religion and stuff, not real like religion, like not Christianity or anything, but just the kind of fantastical religion that's in the book.
Oh, that's very cool. So this is a standalone. Are you going to write any other books set in this world, or that was it for this world? or there's other corners that we can explore?
I think it's undecided. I think I've created a big enough kind of world in my head where I
It
can,
sounds big.
yeah,
That's why
where
I'm
I think,
asking. I'm like, this sounds really big to have just one book set in it.
yeah, well, yeah, I think I could if I wanted to, like, go into different stories, but I don't know if I would touch the main characters of this book anymore. I think their story has already been told. Maybe a couple of the side characters, like I could go into something with Cassidy or something, but I have no plans recently. I'm working on another book completely unrelated to this book right now, so it'd be in the far future if I were to go back on it.
And the book that you're working on now, is it also fantasy?
It's an intrusion fantasy, yeah.
What does intrusion fantasy mean? Like an
Um,
invasion or like I don't know what that means.
um, it's like fantasy that happens in the real world, so modern
Oh, like urban
fantasy.
fantasy.
Yeah, like urban fantasy, sorry, that's probably the correct term for it.
Yeah, it was like intrusion fantasy. I was like, what the heck
I
does
don't
that
know
mean?
where I got that
Does it
from.
mean like they're trying to break into your house?
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know where that came from.
So it's more urban fantasy. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, which
Urban
is very
fantasy's
different
fun.
from, The Beauty of Dawn. The Beauty of Dawn is very much like medieval epic classic.
And this urban fantasy, is that also gonna be standalone or is that gonna be part of a series?
It'll also be a standalone.
You like
Um,
standalones.
I
I
do like
salute you.
standalones, yeah.
I I'm a series girl. I write series.
If I were to write a series, I think it would be about the martial art that I do, Aikido, and there is some Aikido in The Beauty of Dawn. The way the fight scenes are happening is very much taken from the martial art that I do. I'm a second degree black belt in it, so I just
Wow.
kind of taught like chock full all the stuff I've learned into their fight scenes.
Wow, that's really cool. I've never taken a martial arts class. Maybe I need to because fight scenes for me are hard to write. My brain just can't visualize it.
Just watch action movies. They got it good enough.
I've tried, but like my brain just kind of short circuits when trying to
I
like.
find that John Wick, they have really good action scenes. Like they're super long and they take forever, but they're doing actual jujitsu in the fight scenes and actually some aikido in the fight scenes. So I think that series, like the John Wick series, does a really good job of doing realistic fight scenes. Well,
I mean, I don't know about that. There's
yeah, they're
like,
kind of
they get, he gets hit by a car and
yeah,
rolls off it. Like, I've been hit by a car. I did not roll off it and go off and
there's
chase my
yeah,
enemy.
yeah, there's a lot of really cheesy stuff in John Wick, but like when they just have those little encounters where they're like doing a hip throw with somebody, that's legitimate judo and legitimate aikido and stuff, and it was really cool to watch until they, flip over a car and
Yeah, or fall down like a flight of stairs and just
like
get
a
up and
10
run
foot.
away.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, no.
When he fell down that massive, like in the latest one, the massive stone staircase, I was
Yeah,
like,
I was
"You're
like,
dead."
yeah, no. Like, I almost thought it'd be fun if there was in the bottom of the thing, like, a little counter of how many times John died. Like, if he were real and had to obey, like, reality's laws and not
Yeah.
the movie laws, like, how many times he would have been dead or severely injured and, unable to, like, continue.
Yeah, when I was watching the latest one and they, like, bring up their arms and they have, like, their suits are, like, I don't know, special and they, like, catch the bullets. I was like, "This is so stupid."
Yeah,
They're doing
no,
this with the
no.
bullets.
I mean, even if you got hit wearing, like, Kevlar or something, like, you're
I
still
think
gonna
that was
feel
it.
it.
Yeah, that was what it was. It was Kevlar suits, and they're just doing this to stop the bullets, and it was really funny.
Yeah, no. There's still like the force that it hits you. Yeah, you stop the bullet, but
Yeah,
it leaves a bruise, you know?
or a hole.
I mean, yeah, if it's armor piercing or something, but if it's not armor piercing, I
Yeah,
think most of those the Kevlar would deflect. But still there's still the force. Like it is
yeah,
still hitting you with some force and that is going to leave a bruise unless, I don't know how much padding you would need for it not to, but in all the action books that I read, you get hit with Kevlar, you're getting a bruise, and depending where it hits you, it's gonna knock you down, and it could knock you out from
yes.
the blow because it's hitting you, and there's organs, know.
There's lots
There,
of vital things here.
yeah, I mean, because it's physics, you're getting the bullet is moving at the speed, and when it collides with you, like that's the worst thing. Like head-on collisions are the hardest to survive for
And
that
they're
reason.
point blank. They're,
All
like,
the
right in front of
force,
each other.
yeah, there's nothing mitigating the force, like. Kevlar stopping the bullet, but the force of the damn bullet, which is moving at like I don't know how many miles per hour, is still like that energy has to go somewhere, and it goes into your body.
I feel like you would bleed out internally or something, especially when it hits, like, here. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, without enough padding or something like to mitigate, because you would need like a suit jacket made of Kevlar is not going to do it. You would need something that like the Kevlar, yes, you need that to stop it, but you'd also need like other like
Full on body armor.
yeah, like the armor would have to mitigate that force, like spread it out over because when that's what kills you in a lot of things is it is force hitting you at a point that it and all that force is concentrated on that one point. You need to spread it out to so then you're like not otherwise your organs can't like handle that kind of thing. You die. It's
I
game
don't
over.
even know if you were wearing Kevlar if you could survive the fall from the stairs that John Wick did.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess it would depend on like the arm, like the type of body armor, because some of the types of body armor are like designed to spread out the force. So for some of those, I think you would be able to go down that many stairs, like roll down the stairs in it, helmet on. Like you'd still be a little bit like because your brain is floating around inside your skull, and it's still getting even though you're wearing a padded helmet or whatever, it's still knocking about your skull, and that might give you like some. You might get up and be a bit confused and wobbly. But the way some of those body armors work, the way it spreads out the force, like you'd probably be okay. But again, like not with what he was wearing.
No,
Even if it was Kevlar, like it's just Kevlar is, there's nothing
like
mitigating that force. Yeah.
I don't even think it was a Kevlar suit because he was going to do a duel of some kind. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. It looked like regular fabric to me, and like this was some Hollywood magic.
Hollywood magic.
I mean, there is such a thing,
Yeah.
It's only like a few movies that like I think the Terminator movies pretty much are one of the few that like portray like you get hit, you get hurt.
Which movies?
The Terminator ones.
The Terminator, gotcha.
Like the earlier ones, like T2 Judgment Day. I saw that in the theater.
I haven't seen the Terminator. So.
Probably too young to be seeing it too. But like, yeah, I love that movie. But that was like I think that's why I like that movie so much. Like there's a lot of action, but like people get hit, they get hurt. Like it's not like it's not fake like violence where like they can get up and walk away. Like Sarah Connor's like, struggling by the end.
It is fun though, like watching John Wick and them throw each other around. I think it has a certain point where they should chill.
I mean, it starts to look like a video game after a while. I'm like, where's my controller?
Yeah, there was even a scene where they went over top and did like an overhead view, and John Wick is going through and just like doing like the shots around corners.
I was like, I need my controller, man.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It starts to feel like fake.
Yeah,
but it's so over the top that it's fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, no complaints. No complaints for me. I love action books, action movies. I'm really big into that.
Are you really?
Yes, I love the Gray Man series, which is action thrillers and other like the tier 1 what's that? I think it was just tier 1 series, but they're like Navy SEALs that do black ops work for the government. Like stuff. I love all that stuff. And Barry Eisler has the Sean Rain series. He's like the natural killer. He kills people in ways that like it seems like they died of natural causes, but they definitely did not. He uses a lot of judo.
So your books must have lots of action in them then.
I try, but I'm not really good at writing action.
That's fair.
It sucks because I want lots of action in there, but I'm like, and my brain is like just can't figure out how to choreograph it, I'm like, I want this cool action sequence, and I'm like, all right, brain, give me something, anything. And there's just like a complete like blank. Like, okay, action scene here. And I'm like, I have no idea what they're doing in it, but I just want some cool action scene.
Yeah, I don't watch action movies really. I'm not the biggest fan of them. I did like John Wick, but I watched that with my boyfriend and he likes action Marvel movies, so I was kind of doing that for him. But I think it's funny because people always describe my book as really action-packed and full of action, and I never even thought about it like that, but when I was reading it back, I was like, yeah, I guess they're right.
Yeah, you're just writing it and you're like, this judo throw would work really well right here.
Yeah.
It's so cool though that you're a black belt and you're able to draw on that. Like that's really cool.
Thanks. I mentioned my sensei in the acknowledgements because all the action scenes came from him, his instruction.
Did he approve the action sequences?
Well, he hasn't read the book yet, so we'll see.
Okay. That'd be fun if he reads it and he's like, that scene on page 47 was just
a little inaccurate, a little off.
Yeah, the footwork wasn't right. The hold was not quite there. I see where you were going with this, but you did that in class.
Yeah,
we'd have a problem.
I watched you do this in class, and it was very, very inaccurate. I see now where you got it from.
like might start giving you homework.
Yeah.
In your next book, you must get at least 3 action sequence completely correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so fun. Was there anything else you want to say about The Beauty of Dawn?
Uh, no, I don't think so. It's a very personal story, I think, in some ways. Just like the moral theme of like letting things go. I tend to obsess a lot over stuff. I tend
Who
to be like
doesn't?
a yeah, like I'm a really big obsessor, overthinker. Um, and I really like that my book kind of addresses that in a fantastical lens, where you're if you're one of those people that overthink and obsess over the negative, maybe Nathaniel's story will appeal to you, and you'll see like yourself in him. I guess that's what I'll leave it with.
And you too will learn the power of letting go, and maybe it'll make you immortal.
You know, maybe. It'll make you forever young because you won't have worry lines anymore.
Mm. And who wants worry lines? Who wants to
Exactly.
worry in general?
Yeah.
No, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'll have all of your links and details, where to find the book, in the show notes. You're also part of the SPFBO, the self-published fantasy blog off number
Yes, I
9
am.
this year.
Yes.
So yeah, how's The Beauty of Dawn doing in there?
Well, not cut yet, so
That's all we can reasonably hope for at this point, I think.
yeah, it's pretty cutthroat out there.
It is. I haven't heard anything from my cohort, so just waiting on tenterhooks.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited about it.
Which
I don't
cohort are you in?
I'm with Weatherwax, Esme.
I think
Esme
mine is
Weatherwax.
Philip Chase.
Okay.
I don't know anything about either of them. I'm trying not
Yeah.
to look up anything about them until like after it's over, because I don't want to.
Oh, I've been obsessively checking the blog to see if they've made a review yet.
I'm just gonna wait till the end, and then go
That's
back and look at everything. And
that's probably a good way to do it.
yeah, because like I don't want to get any like ideas about how what they like, and start like obsessing
Obsessing and
over,
overthinking.
does my book fit it. So I'm just like, no, just I'm just happy to have gotten in, and it's been an interesting experience so far. So
Yeah, I stayed up until like I got up. I set my alarm for the morning because it was like I think 7 a.m. when the contest opened, and I immediately
it
just
was 8 a.m. for
put it
me,
in.
and I was
Yeah.
driving to work. So at every stoplight, I'm like,
I've heard a lot of stories like
yeah,
that, like, and I had
I
the other
had a
husband.
document with all the things I could just cut and paste, and that's what I was doing. Like on my phone, on the whatever that is, the holder on my
Yeah.
dashboard,
I wonder
flipping
how,
from directions to work to get around traffic to the form to cut and paste things in.
yeah, I wonder how, like, fast it's gonna fill up next year because it was
I
only
don't
40
know.
minutes
I
this
don't
time.
know. I think probably pretty fast. I
Yeah.
was trying to decide whether to put another book in. I have 5 series, so I have 5 book ones. So
Oh,
I could just put another one in.
yeah, just throw it in there, see how it does. The worst thing that comes out is you get a review, I guess.
Oh, I have 6 book ones because I do have a standalone. It's a prequel. The characters want it to not be a standalone, but I'm like, no, that was a fun one. The same characters who are in there are in 20 other books. They do not need another book. we do not need. I don't know. They might talk me into it. I don't know. We'll see.
That'd be cool. You do have a standalone, you're not a
Yeah, I
total
always
series
forget.
person.
I always forget because I listed as book 7 on the series page because it shouldn't be read before book 6, even though it's a standalone prequel. It
Right.
just shouldn't be read before book 6 in the other series. Like if you're gonna read both things, if you're not, then you can totally read it as a standalone. It doesn't. But a
So
lot
you
of
can read
people.
it on its own without
Yes.
reading the other series.
It is its own complete story, mostly starring other people and not this guy behind me.
Who's that guy?
He's Sarn, the Cursebreaker from my Cursebreaker series, and I entered his first book, Cursebreaker Enchanted, in the self-published fantasy blog off number 9. Oh,
Ooh.
here we go.
So this one.
Yeah. So he's
Cool.
in there, his first book.
That's awesome. I wish you good luck.
I wish you good luck too. I hope we can all win. Everybody's so
Right?
awesome. We'll see. 300 books can enter, and there's who knows how many semifinalists, and then
All
there's
300 are semifinal. All 300 tie.
is that it? And then like there's 10 finalists, and then there's the one winner, and maybe
Yeah,
somebody
yeah, that's
runner
how it
up.
actually is.
Yeah, I didn't realize there were so many semifinalists. That got kind of confusing.
No, there's not actually like 300 there's like
No,
300 books in the.
but like some blogs, some blogs are like a team of reviewers.
Yes.
So they'll each reviewer will have their own semifinalists, and then I guess they'll choose one overall finalist from their
Yeah,
cohort.
they do like their
So
own mini SPFBO.
yeah, and it's kind of neat. My cohort is just one person, so we don't have that, I guess. I don't
Right.
think. I don't know. waiting to see.
I
But
think
it's
there's
been
2
neat.
people in mine. I think. I don't know.
So they might have split the books.
I think so, yeah. I think one person liked romance more than the other person, so they gave all the romance books to the other person. I think that's how it went. I don't know.
I mean, I hope mine isn't looking for romance because I don't write it.
Me too.
I mean, in my current whip, there is some romance, but most of the books I write are no romance.
Like Brandon Sanderson books, where it's kind of like on the side.
Well, it's not even like my current whip is not on the side. It's part of the main plot because the characters did not leave me any other choices. So I wanted to put it off to the side. They were like, "No, this is main screen attraction." I was like, "All right, fine." So yeah,
they decided for you.
Yeah, I just it's either I go with what they want or they strike, and the book takes a lot longer to write. I'd rather cooperate with their wishes. And I have other books that are not like the Cursebreaker series is about a single father and attempting to survive in a world that hates and fears mages, and he happens to be one, and he has a son that he's trying to raise and in secret. The son doesn't want to be a secret, so there's all that fun. The son wants to go with him and do magical stuff, and he's like, no, it's not how it works. So there's a whole thing with that. Just the kid thinks magic is cool, and
well, of course he does.
Yeah, he's a little kid, and he's been sheltered from all the people who he doesn't quite realize that magic is illegal, and you could be killed if somebody found out that he has magic. So to him, like, magic is a wonderland of cool stuff.
Oh, that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it's a fun dynamic.
Yeah. Sounds cute. Sounds fun. It sounds like he gets into a lot of trouble.
Oh God, yes. He goes, yes. In the most recent books, he decided to go look for dragons, and that led to all sorts of chaos.
Did he find them?
Oh yes. Oh
good.
yeah. Oh yeah. No, his best friend is actually a dragon, the baby dragon, wearing a human disguise.
Oh.
He finds out one of the books, and so when he goes looking for dragons, he's going looking for specifically his friend, because there was another dragon that his father found at the end of book 6, and he heard about it, and he wanted to know, like, well, what happened to it? Because nobody seems to know, or if they do know, they're not telling him, and so he wants to know what happened to this other dragon. It's another baby dragon. So yeah, there was a whole thing with that.
Cool.
Yeah, it's fun. Anyways, so that pretty much brings us to a close. So I wish you well with the self-published fantasy blog off. And yeah, this has been fantastic. I'm Melinda Kucsera, your indie fantasy author, and today we had Willow Seitz. Did I get it?
Yeah.
Awesome. And we've been talking about The Beauty of Dawn, so I hope you'll check it out, and we'll be back with another fantasy book to talk about in the next episode. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, come back anytime.